It's best remembered for its Hell in a Cell main event, but what about the rest of the show? Was that any good? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. It's the season finale, if you will, of season 6 of 10 years ago tonight, as you can probably tell by the title. As always, we're going to be looking at WWE's Armageddon 2005. Don't you worry your little cotton socks, this series ain't going nowhere. Season 7 will begin with New Year's resolution in January 2016. But first, last of all, it is December the 18th, 2005, and we are live at the absurdly named Dunkin Donut Centre in Providence, Rhode Island for the final pay-per-view of 2005. This venue has hosted such shows as Rumble 94, Backlash 99, and of course 4 straight King of the Rings from 1987 through to 1991. 8,000 fans on hand who get to see Jamie Noble versus Funaki. Jamie Noble getting the win in just over 3 minutes. As far as I know, this is Jamie Noble's return to the Fed, having worked as James Gibson down in Ring of Honor for a while. 320,000 buys for this show is quite a jump actually on Armageddon last year, which pulled only 230,000. Shall we? Our opening contest saw JBL defeating Matt Hardy in a meh match. So prior to the bout, JBL cut a promo Matt and his 2005 about all the stuff with Lita and stuff, which feels so long ago now. Bear in mind that feud all started at SummerSlam or just before. They had the first match at SummerSlam. Feels so long ago, but more importantly, this promo feels like it's never, ever going to end. And of course, that means that the bell goes 7 minutes into this pay-per-view. Matt attacks to get us started from behind, as you can probably imagine, because you've just been ripping me, I'm going to get you good, but then spends the rest of this match getting the shit kicked out of him. He gets the occasional moves in, but like he gets a neck breaker and he gets a moonsault press at one point. But the rest of it is just JBL pummeling the living shit out of Matt, especially when Matt gets his head trapped in the ropes. And he gets beats and beats and beats, and then it's just like I say, it's all beats. JBL removes the top turnbuckle pad, introduces Matt to it. Hello, Matt. This is turnbuckle pad, and then hits him with a particularly stiff-looking clothesline from hell to get the win at just 6:44. After getting trapped in the ropes, like I've just mentioned, Matt sold the throat all match, and that bit I liked. The rest of this was just a squash and not a good one at that. 1 star if you're feeling particularly generous. Now, I've heard 2 stories about this one. I've heard that Matt Hardy failed to come out at the end of Survivor Series for the Randy Orton Undertaker segment, or he did come out and I hadn't noticed it and was meant to be one of the jobbers who got chokeslammed but just refused or something like that. So as punishment, we got this match and Matt got the shit kicked out of him by JBL. Has anyone else heard that one, or is that just something that I heard a long time ago and was like, oh right, I'm going to remember that one, that's going in the old memory banks? Who can say? We get a clip from SmackDown where Melina had used her slutty ways to try and get Batista to back out of a match with MNM. It was meant to be Batista and Rey Mysterio versus MNM for the Tag Team Championship. Melina basically fucks Batista, is that what we're implying? And then the next thing you see is Melina saying, so have we got a deal? And Batista's like, no, but thanks for the warm-up. And Melina wasn't impressed. So now we get Melina backstage, and the Mexicools, who of course have got their match with MNM tonight, they want the same thing. We'll cancel the match if you give us some fucking. And Melina, of course, says absolutely not, because you're not Batista. So, as it's a Hell in a Cell main event tonight, we're going to get Hell in a Cell clips throughout this show. Our first is the most infamous Hell in a Cell of the lot. It's King of the Ring 1998. It's Undertaker versus Mick Foley, or Mankind, whichever you want to say. And it's Foley getting chucked off and then chucked through the steel cage that is the Hell in a Cell. Now, this is pointless to me because it's one of those, look, you're not going to get anything close to the levels of violence that you saw in that match tonight. You're just not. So why even suggest it? It's one of the problems with that Hell in a Cell match, that every other Hell in a Cell match after it subsequently had to try and get to that close level of violence, and the only person who was nuts enough to do anything that violent was fucking Mick Foley. Anyway, so next up was Eminem defeating the Mexicools, which of course is Psychosis and Super Crazy, in a decent match. In a nice little thing, they showed the Eminem versus Batista and Rey Mysterio. They showed the Eminem's entrance, and Melina was so destroyed by Batista that she couldn't do the splits on the apron. That made me chuckle far more than it fucking should have done. Mexicools get a couple of nice dives in the early going, including the classic, where the referee won't let you do the dive. So the dude goes to check on the referee goes to check on the outside. So the dude just dives over the ref. It's always a nice looking spot. Eminem take over on Psychosis though. He managed to get a great looking double scissors, but Eminem used some classic tag team wrestling, like knocking Crazy off the apron and quick tags. A moment that made me smile is Mercury catching Psychosis' leg on a kick and slapping his face. So he goes for the kick. Mercury catches him, and no. So Psychosis hits him with a really nice enziguri. That's a nice little touch. It means he can hot tag Crazy. He gets a nice tornado DT while Psychosis gets a crossbody. Melina stops Crazy when he goes up top, but he shoves her off and gets a nice moonsault for 2. And then literally out of nowhere, the very definition of out of nowhere, the snapshot gets the win for MNM at 8:55. Good stuff. Crowd were hot throughout. It was way too short in my opinion, but this is such a step up for MNM after they've been feuding with LOD 2005 for the last year. It feels like such a long time. So to get Eminem in a decent match is very, very refreshing. Next, Chris Benoit defeating Booker T in probably the match of the night. This is match number 4 of the best of 7 series, and Booker is 3-0 up, believe it or not. So if Booker wins this match, it's game over and he is the United States champion. The crowd really don't seem to care about Booker T in the slightest for this one. They pop whenever Benoit, in the early going for example, Benoit tries the crossface and he tries the sharpshooter. Both times those moves get a decent pop from the crowd. But anything that Booker does is a completely different story. It doesn't help as well that the things that he does do, they do look a touch sloppy. At one point looking like he was going for a delayed vertical suplex, for example, Booker T does, and he loses his footing and drops Benoit quite awkwardly. It doesn't look very nice. It's one of those things, if you're trying to endear yourself to the crowd, you're not really helping yourself there, are you, Booker? This match goes 20 minutes, and because of the crowd's lack of enthusiasm, it feels all of its 20 minutes, if that makes sense. Jesus Christ. We're going to skip 10 minutes. So Benoit, after Booker had been on offense for most of the early 10 minutes ago, most of the early going, the early 10 minutes, Benoit comes back with all of the suplexes. He hits German suplex, he hits the Northern Light suplex. As a tribute to his friend, the late Eddie Guerrero, he does the 3 Amigos. More Germans lead to Benoit going up top, but Charmel distracts allowing Booker to get a missile dropkick for 2. Long-time viewers remember that these two had a best of 7 series in WCW, and it was that move, the missile dropkick, that got the win in the last match for Booker T. So that's a nice little touch. Here it gets 2. Charmel goes low, so Booker can get an axe kick, but it only gets 2. Bookend is turned into a crossface, but Booker gets to the ropes. More Germans. They head up top in the other corner, so Charmel in the opposite corner, so Charmel can't get them. It's one of those. You first go, that makes sense. Then you just go, but Charmel could just walk around the ring, couldn't she? Never mind. He hits the diving headbutt. Booker gets 2. Ref is bumped. Benoit puts on the sharpshooter. Booker is tapping out. Of course, there's no referee. The bookend is counted into a sweet as fuck DDT. Crossface though gets the win. 20 minutes and 10 seconds. First 10 minutes, meh. Last 10 minutes, brilliant. What a tricky one to rate. So a 3-star match seems fair. It could have been better. It could have been worse. And of course, the best of 7 series continues. It's one of those. Didn't see that one coming. The best of 7 series, it's always going to go down to the 7th match. And little did we know this would be Booker's last participation in the best of 7 series. More of that later on. Or another time, sorry. Highlight of the Hell in a Cell at number 2 is Rikishi coming off the top of the cell at Armageddon 2000. Once again, such a pointless thing. No one's going to come off the cell. It just isn't going to happen. What is the fucking point in showing it? Next up, a truly horrible segment as Teddy Long comes out with Carlton Palmer. He wants to thank the fans. He said that SmackDown's been amazing all year. He wants to thank the fans, blah, 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 blah. Carlton Palmer gets the microphone, cuts a very awkward promo. This guy is not very good on the mic. He's got a present for everyone. He brings out Santa Claus. And of course, Santa Claus is played by Vito and has got his little elf who is Nunzio. And they give out coal to the fans and give out some coal to Michael Cole. Taz says coal for coal and thinks it's the funniest thing he's ever said. The way he's laughing, he suggests that he actually doesn't mean that. In an interesting touch, bear in mind it was Carlton Palmer who brought Santa out when Vito and his elf, well, Vito and Nunzio start asking for things from Carlton Palmer. Can we have a tag team title shot? Nunzio asked, can I have a cruiserweight title shot? They said, actually, I've got one thing for you. I've got this for you. And the Boogeyman comes out, and it's one of those, so are you a heel or are you a face or what? Because it came across that Long was the face, Palmer was the heel. He brings out two heels, and then the heels get beaten up by another heel. It was very strange, yeah. Boogeyman beats them both up, and then hits the pump handle slam on Vito, and then puts worms on everyone. Yay, love it. Recap of No Mercy, where the Ortons beat up Undertaker in a casket match and then set him on fire, and then a Survivor Series where Undertaker came back, and then on SmackDown where Taker challenged Orton to a Hell in a Cell. Orton tried to retire instead of facing the dead man. Oh, but it was a setup all along. Of course it was. And then, oh goody, there's an Orton promo as well, which is nice. Next up, our next match is Bobby Lashley defeating William Regal and Paul Burchill in a proper match. So, but Paul Burchill has been in on SmackDown for a couple of months, I think, at this point. He's one of those names that I used to see a lot because I used to read Power Slam magazine, and I would obviously at this point I wasn't going to independent wrestling or anything like that, so I'd see the name but didn't know anything about the guy. The first time I remember seeing him is on an episode of Velocity, believe it or not, when he first debuted the C4, thinking it was like the greatest move I'd ever seen at that point. Flipping rock bottom, holy shit. This match is last just shy of 4 minutes, 3:40. It's 2 minutes of Lashley getting owned, 2 minutes of Lashley hitting power moves and coming back and winning with the Dominator. That's lovely, isn't it? And then, the moment that I know I'm sure you've all been looking forward to me talking about, and that is, I've got written on my notes, Jesus, this moment, as we head live to a bar called the Friendly Tap, where our old friend Josh Matthews is talking to referee Tim White. Tim White is not a happy chappy, folks, not a happy chappy at all. In fact, he has what looks like a shot of tequila and a bottle of beer next to him. Josh asks Tim various questions. Tim doesn't seem like he wants to answer any questions, and he just wants to be left alone with his booze. We talk about Hell in a Cell from, when was it? Judgment Day 2002, when it's Triple H versus Chris Jericho, and then we see clips of Tim White being chucked into the cell, suffering a separated shoulder and pretty much having to retire. He came back at WrestleMania 20, if you remember, where he refereed the Jericho versus Christian match, and on the final 3 count, he blew out his shoulder again and has never refereed since. So we come back, and White's been drinking the whole time. He finally speaks, and he says that he's been in constant pain. He's like, plane? He's been on a plane, why not? He's been in constant pain. He's lashed out at the people who know, so his wife has left him, and his friends and family don't talk to him anymore. And he's got all these problems. He's got eczema, he's got psoriasis, and he's got IBS. And he gets Josh goes, what's IBS? And Tim White has to say, it's irritable bowel syndrome. Which is, I guess it's meant to be funny, but it's not the nicest of things, is it? So you shouldn't laugh at something like that. Josh tries to wish Tim a white Christmas. Get it? Tim White? He even says it! Josh even says it. There's no subtlety to it at all. He even has to say, get it? Tim White? Sort of thing. So White is so impressed with Josh's awful interviews and awful jokes that he pulls a shotgun out and goes off screen. And the next thing you see is Josh begging Tim, oh, please, Mr. White, please don't do that. No, please. And then it's sort of, you're waiting for the intensity of Josh to sort of build up, and it doesn't. And the next thing you know, there is a fucking gunshot, implying that Tim White has shot himself. This could be the worst thing I've ever seen on a wrestling pay-per-view. This, if you're following me on Facebook, you'll see, I put on Facebook, fuck that. I watched to this point and then I turned this off. So I watched this show in 3 parts. This was the end of part 2. I was like, fuck that. Because for me, it was alright. how could I watch anything else on this pay-per-view after that? So, just over a month since Eddie Guerrero died, we're going to do a fake death angle for reasons. There's a tiny part of me that can see where they were going with this, believe it or not. They're trying to imply that the Hell in a Cell match is so dangerous that even the referees get hurt in it. That bit, fine. The fact that he tried to kill himself, I'm so not cool with. This was so bad. So bad. And so bad. If 2010 Marc would be ranting his arse off right now. But to me, I can't get angry at it. I just turn it off. Because that's just what I do nowadays. Instead of going, rah, this is bollocks, this is pathetic. It's just like, no, just turn it off. Just turn it off, and it makes me go, I hate. Yeah, actually, that's the thing. I just turn to my missus and I fucking hate wrestling sometimes. Lisa, bless her heart, just goes, everything's fair game, isn't it? Anything's fair game to be made fun of in wrestling. And it's one of those, yeah, it is, isn't it? They'll do anything. It just bothers me. It's one of those. Yeah, I've got written on capital letters here in my notes here. How the fuck do you watch a wrestling match after that? Is what I've got written. So, of course, naturally, it's Kid Kash defeating Juventud. Oh, one more thing before we go on. Michael Cole says, did we see what we just saw? Trying to put on the Owen voice. And Taz, who is a genius, goes, irritable bowel syndrome? Fucking hell. He's trying to make a joke out of it. So it's all meant to be taken seriously. So he didn't kill himself, but he did. Or did he? I don't know. This will turn into a thing called Lunchtime Suicide, which lasted from January until April 2006. And every week on WWE.com, Tim White would try and kill himself in a humorous fashion. And I don't know if you thought it was funny. I didn't, because suicide's not a fun thing, is it? It's a really bad thing. So I don't know. So next up is Kid Kash defeating Juventud in a meh match to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Kid Kash is a former ECW and TNA guy. He has a famous for having an awful attitude, so we're not expecting him to last long in the WWE. He has a title. He's been here for a few weeks. He has a title shot after being a Hubie stablemate. Super crazy. And Juventud comes out first, which bothers me greatly. Now, maybe it's because the fans aren't familiar with Kid Kash's work, or maybe it could just be they've just seen someone try and fucking shoot themselves, but the fans do not react for anything in this match. Don't get me wrong, it has got some good stuff in it. Kid Kash, for example, tries to work the arm in the early going, and they do a really nice sequence later on where is it now? Hoover Driver is countered into a Brainbuster attempt, but Hoover counters that into a Hoover Driver and that gets two. That little sequence there was really nice. It's just not a very interesting match. Hoover misses a leg drop off the top rope and falls to a Brainbuster at 9:28. Lovely. You sat watching it just going, I don't care. That guy might have just tried to kill himself. Can you tell us how Tim White's doing, please? Is he dead? I mean, that's the thing. Maybe it's just because I'm a nice bloke, but I care much more about the fact that that he might be dead. Because that's the thing, it's not mentioned for the rest of the show. There's nothing mentioned of it. There is no mention of it whatsoever. Bollocks. Kane and the Big Show defeating Batista and Rey Mysterio in a meh match. So it's Raw and SmackDown again. This time it's Tag Champions versus Tag Team Champions. So Batista and Rey Mysterio had beaten MNM for the Tag Team belts in a match on SmackDown over here in Blighty. As a little thing that got my attention when they showed the build-up package this one, Rey Mysterio hitting a reverse Rana on Joey Mercury off the top rope. One of those, oh nice, one of my absolute favourite moves. Batista's still injured, so I'm not expecting much. He'd been chokeslammed on top of a car by Big Show and Kane in a backstage segment where they did a thing where Batista was there, they had a car, they cut away, Big Show and Kane were there, they cut away for some reason. When they came back, Batista was sprawled out in the car. It's like, yeah, you just got yourself in position. The chokeslam never happened. Anyway, short match this one, with not a great deal happening. Batista proved me wrong, was straight away, there's a suplex on Kane, like, but then it was Rey getting the shit kicked out of him. Batista didn't even bother with the hot tag, he just thought, fuck it, got in, cleaned house, got Big Show on the outside. They rolled through the announce table, if you can believe that. Rey hits the 619 when he goes for the West Coast pop. Kane counters it into a chokeslam, which gets the win at 8:39. This is a proper meh match. This is a SmackDown main event on a pay-per-view, and you're sat going, I just don't care. Our final Hell in a Cell moment, just to emphasise that people do come off the top of this thing, is the first Hell in a Cell where Shawn Michaels was knocked off the top. I've already said what I know what needs to be said, don't I? So, our main event is The Undertaker defeating Randy Orton in an alright but not great Hell in a Cell match. Might get a bit of abuse about this one, but I don't like this match. So the first few minutes is all Undertaker. Orton is able to get a drop kick in for one, but that's it for a while as Taker lays in the beats in the ring, beats on the outside, and then more beats in the ring, including pulling Orton, storming first into the ring post and smashing a chair into Orton's face, which busts him open. Taker stays in control, raking Orton's face and cell, bouncing it off the steps, and then getting a steel chain and choking Orton with it. Yay. Taker lawn darts Orton into the cell, and it's that brings Orton to life, believe it or not. He comes back with punches and kicks. Wants to use the steps, but Taker boots them into Orton's arm, but Orton then gets a sort of stun gun across the ropes, and out of nowhere, sorry. This time the steps work as they're smashed into Taker's face, busting Taker open as well. Orton follows with choking with the chain, then smashes the chair into Taker's face. Sort of a you do a move, I do a move sort of thing. So you hit me with the chair earlier, so I'm going to hit you with the chair now sort of thing, you know? Taker sends Orton into the cage and slams him in the ring. He wants an elbow drop, but it misses, allowing Randy Orton to bail and get a table. They head outside where the cowboy gets involved, holding Taker while his boy lays in some beats. Taker doesn't like this one bit and grabs Ace and rams him into the cage, busting him open. Now, before we go on, we need to talk about the fact that later on, apparently, Undertaker found out that Cowboy Ace Bob Orton has got hepatitis and didn't bother telling anyone about this, and then blades in a match. So bear in mind that Taker had been busted open as well. Taker could have theoretically caught hepatitis from Orton. Yeah, I think Cowboy Bob Orton wasn't seen again after this because of that. Back inside, Taker gets a flying clothesline for 2, followed by Old School and a downward spiral for 2. More offense for Taker as he gets snake eyes, a big boot, and a chokeslam for 2. Orton gets his foot on the bottom rope. Taker wants a boot in the corner, but Orton misses and hits Taker in the nuts with the chain, which is not cool. He puts Taker on the table, goes up top, and hits a splash, which, believe it or not, you sat watching it. I think he's so conditioned to something like this, where, you know, Taker's on the table for ages, Orton goes up top, takes his sweet time going up as well. He sat there going, he's going to move, bugger me, didn't move, sort of thing. So it's a wow. Orton gets some punches in the corner, but Taker tries for the last ride. Orton counters and the ref is bumped, busting the referee open. Well done, Nick Patrick. See what I mean? It's dangerous. That's what I think the Tim White thing was trying to say. Taker wants to choke some, but Orton counters into the RKO. Another ref out, which means the door is opened. Last ride for Randy, but Ace pulls the ref out and beats him up, so it's beats for the Cowboy. Taker wants the tombstone, but Orton counters into a nice looking tombstone of his own. Third referee gets 2 as the dead man sits up. Beats for Taker. Bam. Taker sits up. Bam. Sits up. Bam. Sits up. Wants to choke some, but Bob gets in. RKO is countered. Earn shots for the Ortons, and then tombstones for both of the Ortons. And get this at how long this one went. And that's all she wrote at 30 minutes and 27 seconds. Taker then goes up to the top of the cage to end the show. I'm not going to lie, guys, I didn't enjoy this at all. Well, it's a 2.5 star, maybe 3 star match. So that's to say I didn't enjoy it isn't fair. But for me, this was an extended squash. This Taker obviously wanted revenge for being buried and for being put in the casket match and being set on fire and all that jazz. But at the same time, this just, I mean, yeah, he wants revenge, but in my opinion, he got too much offense in. I really wanted this to be a back and forth match because at the end of the day, Orton needs to win here, doesn't he? You know, Orton stands to gain more than the Undertaker does, and yeah, this was too long. The crowd reacted to the big spots, but were deathly silent in between. And yeah, I don't know why this was a Hell in a Cell match. And of course, as I said before, you've got these 3 clips showing people coming off the top of a Hell in a Cell, and none of those things happened. So it felt very flat, in my opinion. 2.5 stars at best, I reckon. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2 okay matches. The Booker T versus Chris Benoit and the main event, I suppose. The rest of the matches are okay at best. Those 2 segments, the one with Teddy Long one is just ugh. The one with Tim White is horrendous, offensive television. Both of those segments, by the way. Why the fuck? Actually, no. The first one, the Teddy Long one, should have been on SmackDown. Had no purpose on this show at all. The second one shouldn't have existed, full stop. I think 3 out of 10 is very, very fair. I mean, overly fair. In fact, if you look below, it might have changed from that. Okay, how's that one sound? So, ladies and gentlemen, one last thing before we go, and that is to look at this year in total, and that is the overall show rating for this year is 4.8 out of 10. It's the Raw shows that have actually been the highlights of this one. Most of the SmackDown shows this year have been bollocks. No Mercy was bollocks, and No Way Out was bollocks. There's shows like Vengeance and Unforgiven that have been great, and WrestleMania was good, and Royal Rumble was good. It's actually, believe it or not, and One Night Stand was good. It's been a lot better than I actually remember it being. It's just the SmackDown shows, Jesus Christ, do they drag this year down. Ladies and gentlemen, what did you think of Armageddon 2005? I'd love it if you let me know down below. If you're watching this for the first, if you're watching one of my videos for the first time, hit that subscribe button. I'd really like it. Check me out on Twitter, check me out on Facebook, leave me a like and a comment down below and all that jazz. And I have been Mark P. Like I say, next one is season 7. Believe it or not, we've been doing this for 6 full years now. That's ridiculous, isn't it? And we'll be doing New Year's resolution 2006. I've been Mark P. Take it easy and see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.